All right, so we're on the record in docket 22-00885. That is people of the state of Michigan. Really, people of the state of Michigan versus Dwayne Green. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Adam Pfeiffer on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Stephen Feigelson on behalf of Dwayne Green, who's standing to my right this morning.
And sir, you are Dwayne Green, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination today. Mr. Pfeiffer, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, the parties are going to be waiving the exam unconditionally today.
And that's a fair statement, Mr. Feigelson.
It is, Your Honor. I know there was an offer that the people conveyed to the defense, Your Honor. I think that offer placed on the record. I think we made a counter offer as well. I could place that.
All right, go ahead and make a record, Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yes, Your Honor. The offer is for a defendant to plead guilty to count 2, interfering with a crime report by committing a crime or threatening to kill or injure. Count 7, felonious assault on Victoria Penman. Count 13, felony firearms second offense. And count 22, domestic violence second offense as an habitual offender, second offender. With a Killebrew for count 2, the interfering with the crime report, be concurrent with count 7 and 22.
All right. And then Mr. Counter, for you, Mr. Feigelson, you indicated there was a counter offer, but it's not been accepted.
That's correct, Your Honor. And neither is the offer, Your Honor. Our counter offer was just to plead guilty to the felony firearms second offense.
All right.
Are those accurate statements, Mr. Green, of what the offers that not only Mr. Pfeiffer conveyed to me yesterday, that I conveyed to you more counter offers that I conveyed over to Mr. Pfeiffer? Yes, is that correct? Yes.
All right. With that understanding, negotiations are to continue. And Mr. Feigelson, may I inquire of your client of his waiver of the preliminary examination?
You may, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Green, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of your date of arraignment. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by attorney Stephen Feigelson, and he would be here to represent you, cross-examine any witnesses, contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Okay, it's my understanding it is your wish and intent today to waive your right to a preliminary examination. The offer's been made and stated on the record by the people. The counter offer has been made by the defense, and negotiations are to continue. It is your wish to waive your right to a preliminary examination and have this case continue on to circuit court. Is that your wish today?
Yes.
All right. I find the waiver of the preliminary examination be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. Do the people also waive their right to a preliminary examination, Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. With that understanding, the preliminary examination will be waived, and I will give you the document, bind over document to sign.
Mr. Green.
The old one. So you can sign it wherever you want, Mr.
Yeah,
Pfeiffer.
okay.
I think that one may, for whatever reason. Oh, it's a 22 case, so it's got a 22.
Yeah, before they updated the form.
Yeah.
It just broke my brain a little bit not seeing a
I understand.
spot for the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nathaniel. All right, I'm in possession of the bind over document 22-00855. The document is the preliminary examination was waived on today's date. So your time in district court is done. You'll get your next date from Mr. Feigelson in circuit court. We won't give that to you here. You'll get that in the next couple of weeks. All right, sir?
Yes.
All right.
Judge, may we address bond?
You may.
Judge, bond is presently no bond in this case, Your Honor. Mr. Green, in this case is a couple years old. Your Honor's case is from December of 2021, which is a little bit over 2 years ago. I don't know if you're aware of that, Your Honor. I don't believe that no bond is appropriate in this case. We're not at the 90 days yet, but I know as we get closer to that, we will be entitled to a bond, and I don't know if we'd be able to get it in front of a circuit court judge before that time. So I'd ask for the court to impose a bond today.
Mr. Pfeiffer. I have a request for a 250,000 cash bond with GPS at the arraignment, but then what happened after the arraignment?
He was picked up on new gun charges in Florida. He was extradited out from Florida for that.
Okay,
And Your Honor, 250,000, I believe, is a sufficient bond for this defendant. However, I believe it would be more appropriate for the circuit court judge who gets it. If Mr. Fogson wishes, he can request that the arraignment actually happen as opposed to just being on paper or procedural. And that would get it in front of that judge probably within the 90-day window. But I mean, this defendant has 22 charges. He picked up another gun charge in Florida. He has a significant criminal history. And we have a recording of him threatening to shoot up the building that had the victim and the other 3 minor victims there. I mean, it's as serious as it gets without there being a dead body.
Mr. Feigelson responds.
Well, these are just allegations in regards to this video, Your Honor. He does have a criminal history. But I do believe, again, a cash bond would be appropriate. That I know people at the arraignment are recommending 250. I think that's even higher, Your Honor. I'd ask for $100,000 bond today, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I'm going to leave it for the circuit court judge to decide. So I'm going to deny bond at this time and allow the circuit court judge to set bond on the matter, circuit board bond to readdress bond. But I'll stick with the bond is denied based on circumstances and comments made in the representations of counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else for the record? I'll sign the bind over document.
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Nothing on behalf of Mr. Green, Your Honor.
Thank you. That's all for the record. 22-00885.
Thank you.
That's it. Do we need Mr. Dooling? Is Miss Wanji? Miss Wilson, do we need anybody else brought up? While he's down?
We have Mr. Dooling.
Do you want to bring up? I think he's just asking while he's.
Miss Harrington is incarcerated. I believe Miss Schroeder is currently talking to her.
All right. So bring up Harrington. If she's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think she's like down there right now
All
talking
right.
to her.
So,
Hey, Abby.
Yeah.
so she can talk to her up here too. Or
I was gonna say that puts
yeah.
that makes the conversation actually happen with some amount
I have-
of speed and necessity.
Right.
So who do we
Thank you,
need
Mr. Five.
Take care.
I don't know if Malik is.
Miss Angelica Harrington. I don't see Miss Wanji.
I guess Chris is.
Good. And Miss Schroeder is talking to Angelica Harrington.
So bring up Miss Harrington.
Yeah, if they can finish their conversation up here. I can leave the bench.
I'll be right back.
Oh, he knows it.
Oh, he told me to call him.
Oh,
Well, we got
okay.
it figured out,
All right.
so I was gonna go call him.
I thought we told him.
I don't think he wanted to wait.
Mr. Palmer, you're here, Mr. Hines.
Yes, Judge, and.
Do you
Ms.
need him
Ford.
brought him up?
Well, I'll say it this way. He would like me to address bond.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-00168. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Zachary Dooling. The parties, please introduce themselves to the record. Ms. Wilson,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Wanchi.
Melanie Aguilanchi, Your Honor.
And sir, you are Zachary Dooling, is that correct? And you can hear me all right, Mr. Dooling? All right, this is the time set for a preliminary examination. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
I would defer.
Ms. Wanchi.
No, no, this time, after talking to my client, we're gonna waive the preliminary exam. I did, we're gonna waive the preliminary exam at this time.
All right. All right. And then Ms. Wilson, is that your understanding now? And did you want to place on anything on the record?
It is my understanding, Your Honor, now, and I do have an offer that I would like to place on the record. Let me just pull it up here. So the offer is, upon waiver at pretrial in circuit court, Mr. Dooling can plead to a count of resisting and obstructing with injury, which I believe is count 2. The balance of the complaint would be dismissed. If there is no plea at pretrial, then the offer would be revoked and we would proceed as charged.
Okay. And that's your understanding of the offer, Ms. Wanji?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. May I inquire of your client of his waiver of the preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor, you may.
Mr. Dooling, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of your date of arraignment. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented by attorney Melanie Wanji, and she would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. Do you understand that? Is it your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination and have this case continue to circuit court? And any offer has been made on the record by the people?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do the people also waive their right to preliminary examination?
We do unconditionally waive our right, Your Honor.
So the case will be bound over to circuit court. And the complaint's going to stay the same, or you're going to file an amended complaint?
The information will be filed as charged right now,
Okay.
and then depending on what happens at pretrial, we'll go from there.
All right, so I'll provide the council with the bind over documentation. And do the people also waive their right to a preliminary examination?
We do unconditionally, Your Honor.
All right, I'm in possession of the bind over signed by the parties. I will indicate that the examination has been waived on today's date. And I will sign the bind over notice. So Mr. Dooling, your time in district court is done. You'll get your next notice from Ms. Wanji in circuit court. Probably in the next 2 weeks. All right, sir. All right. Anything else for the record in 24-00168, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing from the people.
Anything, Ms. Wanji?
No, Your Honor. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. You're all set, Mr. Dooling. Then Ms. Wilson, who did you want to go on next?
I believe we're ready on Ms. Ryman Schneider.
Riemann Schneider.
And she does have 2 files. One's in RNO and one's on home invasion.
All right. And what are we doing on the?
So I believe the RNO is going to be a waiver. And then the home invasion, I think we're ready to start it, but the people will be asking for a continuance.
So let's do the Arno first.
coming, Your Honor.
All right,
I think we're waiving the RL, Your Honor,
right. So we'll do that one first. That's the 152 file.
then we can address the other one.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-00152. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Mary Lou Riemenschneider. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Yes, Your Honor, good morning, Assistant Public Defender Stephen Feigelson on behalf of Mary Lou Schneider. Am I pronouncing that right?
Raymond Schneider.
Schneider, got it.
And you are, ma'am, Mary Lou Riemenschneider, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is time set for on this file for a preliminary examination. Ms. Wilson, how we proceeding on this file?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding that this will be a waiver to circuit court with the offer that negotiations will continue in circuit, so the charge would remain the same.
And is that a fair statement, Mr. Feigelson?
It is, Your Honor.
Negotiations are to continue. All right. Ms. Riemenschneider, may I inquire of your client of her waiver of the preliminary examination, Mr. Feigelson?
You may, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Riemenschneider, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination on this file within 21 days of your date of arraignment. Preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by attorney Stephen Feigelson, and he would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people. It's my understanding today, it is your wish to waive your right to a preliminary examination, have this case go to circuit court where negotiations are to continue on this file. Is that a fair statement? It is your wish to waive your right to a prelim today?
Yes, sir.
And the people also waive their right to a prelim?
The
Ms.
people
Wilson?
unconditionally waive their right to a preliminary
All
exam, Your
right.
Honor.
I will have the parties sign the bind over document. So Ms. Wilson, I lost my courthouse. So I'll have the parties sign that.
Good man, bro.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. So I'm in possession of the signed bind over by all the parties. I will indicate for the record that the examination was waived on February 8, 2024. And I'll sign the bind over. Ms. Riemenschneider, this means that your time in district court is done on this file. You should get your next date in circuit court from your attorney, Mr. Feigelson, within the next 2 weeks, all right? So your time in district court is done. Anything else for the record in 24-00152, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Feigelson, on this file?
Nothing in this file, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Riemenschneider, you're all set on this file. And then we'll call to the record docket 22-01220. And will the parties please introduce themselves for the record, Ms. Wilson?
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Good afternoon, good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Stephen Feigelson on behalf of Mary Lou Schneider.
And ma'am, you are Mary Lou Riemenschneider, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is the time set for a preliminary examination. I think there's a bond violation on this one too.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. The people are prepared to begin the preliminary exam today. We do have the complaining witness and one of our officers. Given the age of the file, a few of our witnesses may not be at the addresses they were at, so we would be requesting a few a little bit more time to track them down. The age is due to Ms. Ryman Schneider's failure to appear previously, so we would be requesting to start the exam today and for continuance.
Mr. Feigelson.
No, I'd be objecting to, just kind of, we're here, we're ready to go. Some of the necessary witnesses aren't here, and I'm not even certain if the one witness that I think that they're gonna need to be able to send this case not only to the higher court for circuit court for trial, but for jury trial may never be found again, Your Honor. So I'd ask that this case be dismissed. It is without prejudice. They can always refile this, but I think even if we turn this out, we're gonna be right back here asking for an adjournment at the next hearing. So I think we're wasting our resources on this.
All right, well, this case is gonna have a limited run since it's a 22 case and and I'm familiar with the file. There was a fail to appear. I think we can start the preliminary examination at the people's request, since they do have witnesses here who have come today. And then I will, after I hear the testimony, we'll entertain the adjournment at that time. So at this point in time, the people ready to proceed to preliminary examination?
We are,
Is
Your
that
Honor.
correct? Mr. Feigelson, are you ready to proceed to preliminary examination? All right, are there any motions to be brought preliminarily to the court's attention, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor. I will just say, I know there's going to be a sequestration of witnesses. My first witness is here and present. I don't know if you want her to step out before.
Not before, as long as there's nobody else here.
I don't believe so. Oh, there's.
And Mr. Feigelson, so we will have a motion to sequester the witnesses. I'll leave it to the litigants to let me know.
I
If I need to
think
enforce that.
I'm on board that, but there are two witnesses that I think she's calling, and one's in the jury box. So I think it's a non-issue, because I don't
All
anticipate
right.
that officer coming into the courtroom.
All right, just let me know, but that sounds good. So we'll continue on with the preliminary examination. Ms. Wilson, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people would call Tricia Cassini.
All right, ma'am, I'm gonna have to stand right in front of me. Right here. I'm gonna have to have you stay and spell your first name and your last name.
TRISHAPASSINI.
That's your last name.
Passini, yep.
Yeah, and how do you spell your first name?
TRISHA.
Tricia Persini. All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right, go and have a seat. Please talk into the microphone. That's for recording purposes. And then project to the back if you can, all right? All right, Ms. Wilson, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cassini, is it Cassini? Okay. Is there something that brings you to court today?
Yep,
What is that?
my home got broken into about a year ago.
Okay, and what is the address of that home?
207 Astor Avenue, Lansing.
And is that in Ingham County,
Yes, ma'am.
state of Michigan?
Yep,
And is this a residence that you live in?
no,
And what is it used for?
I have some furniture in there and stuff, but it's pretty much just been empty.
Okay,
And it's got the garage has stuff that had instruments and stuff in there.
and has anybody ever lived in that home?
After I moved out,
Did you?
I used to live in there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you said that it had been broken into. How did you first learn that it had been broken into?
My neighbor called,
And what did you do after the neighbor called you?
went to my house,
And when you got to the home, what condition was it in?
trashed,
Trash. Can you describe how it was trashed?
papers all over the place, everything from the attic was down, stuff was all over the kitchen floor and counters and stuff. The upstairs windows were to the garage, the window was busted out. And there was piles of stuff in the hallway and stuff.
Okay, and you said there was a window broken into?
Yeah,
Okay, and was that the condition of the home the last time you were there?
when I guess I'm not understanding. It wasn't when I left it.
Okay, so when was the last time you were at the home before you responded to the break-in?
Oh. I stepped in periodically, so it's probably 2, 3 weeks before.
Okay, and do you recall if the 3 weeks before when you stopped in, was there a window broken in?
No,
No, okay. And so it sounds like you went into the home?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
did you notice anything missing?
oh, yeah.
Well, what did you notice that was missing?
Oh, there was bear rugs, there was, bass guitars, saxophones, and a lot of little stuff. I can't remember everything.
And did you ever give anyone permission to take those items?
No,
Okay. Is that the last time your home was broken into?
Yep.
There wasn't a subsequent time?
no,
No. Did you call law enforcement?
they were already there,
They were already there? Okay.
already there,
Is that the last time you talked to law enforcement about this?
pretty much.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you ever get those items back?
I got 2 hand drums and 1 saxophone.
And how did you get those back?
Went to Marshall Music with the police officer and they had them and I got them back.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Mr. Feigelson.
Yes, just briefly. So you mentioned, is it Miss Pacini?
Yep.
That you own the home, but you don't live there, so it's a storage home, is that correct?
I don't live there. My brother passed away and some of his furniture was in the living room of that house, yes.
So it was a storage facility for your stuff as well as your brother's, correct?
My brother, I had, yeah, okay, yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff and it was a mess, is that correct? The inside of the house, I'm talking about.
When I came to it, yeah. I
But
mean,
before that, when you were there 2, 3 weeks.
no, it was not trash before. Then there was stuff in the living room from my brother's apartment, but it was not trashed.
Okay. You know, I have no additional questions for this witness.
All right, I have a couple questions and then I'll provide redirect and Mr. Feigelson, you can across. Ma'am, today, what was the time frame that you went to the house and saw everything, what you've testified to today?
The time frame.
Yeah, when did it happen?
It was
To the best of your,
midday.
what
like-
date?
Oh, what date? I am not sure. I've got paperwork at home, but I didn't bring it.
So was it this year, last year, the year
Last
before?
year. It would
So
have
it's-
been last year.
It was 2023?
It was about a year ago. Yeah.
Okay, about a year ago, okay. And your indication was that you previously had lived there and your brother had previously lived there.
What I meant is, I lived there and I was married. And then my brother never lived there. He passed away. And so when he passed away, I inherited his everything. So I put his furniture that we kept in the living room of
All right.
that house.
All right. But you yourself had previously lived there.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Wilson, any redirect, and then we'll provide some follow-up to Mr. Feigelson based on the court's questions.
Is the garage attached to the home?
No.
It's not, okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Feigelson, any follow-up to the court's question?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. May this witness be excused from the people,
She may, Your Honor.
from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, thank you for your appearance. You're all set.
Thank you.
And Ms. Wilson, do you have any further witnesses?
I believe I have one more, Your Honor, Officer Pulver.
That's Damon Pulver.
I believe so.
Officer Pulver, you can come up here. Stand right in front of me. Please state your first name and last name and spell them both for the record.
Officer Damon Pulver, DAMONPULVER.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. You can have a seat. The microphone is for recording purposes, and please project to the back as best you can. Ms. Wilson, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Pulver, are you currently employed?
I am.
And where are you employed?
I'm employed with the Lansing Police Department.
What's your job title?
I'm a police officer.
And what are your general duties?
My general duties are responding to calls for service and
Do you recall if you were working on February 22nd, 2022?
I was.
Were you assigned to anything specific that day?
I was assigned to a normal road patrol.
Okay. Did you have occasion to respond to a call at 207 Astor?
I did.
Is that in Lansing,
It is.
Ingham County,
It is.
Michigan?
Yes.
And what was that call in reference to?
The call is in reference to a late breaking and entering.
Okay, and when you arrived, what was happening?
When I arrived, there were several family members that were at the house, and they were telling me that their house was broken into and that some items were stolen.
And did you have opportunity to take a look at the house?
I did.
Did you observe any signs of forced entry?
I did.
And what were those?
They were a broken window on the back side of the house.
Okay, and did you identify this as a sign of forced entry based on your experience?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that there was a report of items stolen. Was a report made to you of what items were stolen?
Yes, there was a long list of all the items that were stolen, and the main items that were stolen throughout that were like musical instruments and things of that nature. And
was there ever any suspects brought to your attention?
No, there was not.
Was that kind of the conclusion of your role in the investigation?
Yes, I arrived, located the broken house that was broken into, observed the scene, and then just took the report for the stolen items.
Okay, I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Feigelson.
Just a couple of questions. Good morning, Officer Bo.
Of course, sir.
So you went out there in 2022, is that correct?
Yes.
February 21st, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct?
If that's what was on the police report, but yes.
And did you get any prints off the house or anything like that?
I didn't know.
Did you actually go inside the house?
I did.
And what did the house look like?
It was just in a general disarray. It looked like there was might have been like a hoarding house. So there's just a lot of stuff in it. It looked like there hadn't been someone living in it for a little bit. But
You kind of look like the person living there was using it as a hoarder, is that correct?
yeah, it was a very packed up house. Yes.
All right, no additional questions.
Thank you. Any redirect, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing from the people, Your
May
Honor.
this witness be excused?
You may, Your Honor.
From the defense, may this witness be?
Yes, Your Honor.
Officer Pulver, thank you for your appearance.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Wilson, any further witnesses on 22-01-220?
Not that are present today, Your Honor.
All right. So you're requesting an adjournment
I
to
am, Your
continue
Honor.
proofs?
Yes.
All right. And Mr. Feigelson, you object to that
I did, Your Honor.
continuation?
And if listen to what we hear today, and there's not enough here. There's a big discrepancy. The one biggest discrepancy I noticed is the alleged victim says this occurred in 23. Officer says he was there in 22. I don't think they're ever gonna make this out. I'd ask for it to be dismissed today.
All right, thank you. Well, with the understanding that we're adjourning this matter to continue proofs, the officer testified that it did happen on February 22nd, 2022. At least that's the date that he responded. We do have the Ms. Pacini indicating some of the nature of the allegations. She wasn't sure when this happened. So at this point, I will grant the motion to continue witnesses. So a grant motion for adjournment. And we will reconvene for preliminary examination purposes. What's council, what's our time frame? Just to give us
It's
I-
within 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, Mr. Feigelson, I don't know what your trial schedule looks like.
I think I'm open, Your Honor, the next
Okay.
couple of weeks. I don't have anything pending.
All right, so let's go 2 to 3 weeks out.
March 1st at 8:30.
March 1st at 8:30.
Just I'll be here.
What's that?
I said I will be here.
Yeah, okay, that'll be live on the 6th floor. And at this time, we're gonna hold a bond violation in abeyance.
Your Honor, if I may, I don't seem to have a report on what that is. Is that just the failure to appear?
It's the, no, it is. It seems like there was a problem with deactivating the monitor status.
There seems to be some notes about that. I wasn't sure if that had been confirmed.
So, yeah, I will have my staff email you what we have
Thank you, Your
concerning
Honor.
the pretrial. And then it was reactivated upon pickup. I think the bench warrant deactivated the status.
Okay.
There was a bench warrant for fail to appear, so.
Okay.
All right, so, and Mr. Feigelson, if you don't have that, we can send that to you too.
I probably don't. Wendy, whatever you send to
Yeah.
Ms. Wilson, please send.
So
it.
that's the memorandum from September 13th.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and we will hold the bond violation in abeyance to the March 1st date. Anything else for the record? So it's March 1st at 8:30. Anything else for the record in 22012220, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing from the people.
Mr.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Fikes. All right, we'll see you on that March 1st date, Ms. Rima Schneider.
Thank you.
I have a Mr. Omari, Jackson, Mr. Ward, and a Miss Reed.
No.
Ms. Reed, Ms. Wanji just informed me this morning has COVID. She did show me a positive test, so I believe that will be another adjournment.
All right, let's go ahead and call that. All right, so we're on the record in docket 23-03808. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Octavia Reed. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Wanchi.
Good morning, Your Honor. Madam Yagi from Missouri.
All right, this is the time set for preliminary examination. I will indicate that on January 11th, the defendant did previously waive their right to a prelim within 21 days. Ms. Wilson, how we proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. This morning, Ms. Wanji did show me a positive test that Ms. Reed had for COVID, so I believe there will be a request for an adjournment.
All right, and Ms. Wanji, is that a fair statement?
It is, Your Honor. Thank you.
The proof was shown to the prosecutor. And I'm assuming, Ms. Wilson, you have no objection to the request for adjournment?
I don't, Your Honor.
All right, so 2 weeks, two weeks to a month, something like that. All right, so we'll adjourn for illness of the request of parties and D having COVID. And proof was shown to the assistant prosecutor, and we'll reset for
February 22nd.
February 22nd at 9 o'clock. Anything else for the record in 23-03808, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing from the people.
Ms. Wanchi?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, we're all set. Thank you for your appearance today. And then did you need some time or did you want to?
I believe we're ready on, Mr. Jackson.
And Avion Jackson.
Correct.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 23-03805. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Avion Jackson. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Wanchi.
Melanie want you, for Mr. Jackson.
And sir, you are Avion Jackson, is that correct? All right, thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination. Ms. Wilson, how we proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding in talking with defense counsel that they will be requesting an adjournment, to which I do have an objection. This was adjourned previously for various reasons, one of them being discovery purposes. I did request the discovery requested by the defense on January 24th, I believe. We have not received it. It is from a third party, Quality Dairy. At this point, I don't even know if Quality Dairy still has the footage that has been requested, or if it even shows what Ms. Wanji is hoping that it does show. And the basis of getting the security footage is to contest the traffic stop. The basis of the traffic stop was visible on the dash cam footage that the officers had, which was provided to Ms. Wanji. And the officers are also here to testify as to other reasons why they conducted the stop. So at this point, I think that there is, sufficient evidence to proceed with a probable cause standard. I will know that there is no motion here to suppress any evidence based on the traffic stop. So, that is something that could be explored up in circuit too. So for purposes of judicial economy and just the fact that, the people have been ready on this for a while now, we would request that we proceed with the exam.
All right, Ms. Wanchi.
I have a question adjournment, and the reason is because it's unclear for me why the stop was done. We're gonna contest the stop. And when the prosecutor said that it's visible, that it's after reviewing the video from the police, the dash cam, we are certain that what is gonna come from a PD will allow us to move forward with this case. We were expecting, we have been looking forward to have that video. And I thank the prosecutor for asking, for requesting that, but we think that for the defense, we really need that. Also, one thing that is, we want the video also because even though the police officer, the report from the police officer said one thing regarding the stop, and the video says something else. So we want to make sure that we know what we're going for and what kind of question we're going to ask the police officer.
All right. Well, this is a probable cause hearing and it's a preliminary examination. Even if the video showed difference that would be a credibility issue left to the trier of fact. So at this time, I'm going to deny the motion for adjournment. And I am going to leave the prosecutor the proofs. There is an ongoing discovery issue concerning Quality Dairy, and that should be met at some point in time. But I believe we can go forward with witnesses concerning any discovery or cross-examination. The one thing that this helps is the witnesses are set in stone with their testimony. So if their testimony changes in any way and it's not seen by the discovery, if it's on video, which we don't know, that would help your motion in circuit court. Okay, so are there any preliminary? So we'll start the preliminary examination. We'll started. And we'll do a motion for sequester. So the litigants know their case better than me. So let me know if I need to ask anybody to leave so they don't see another witness's testimony. Are there any other preliminary matters to be brought to the court's attention, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people, Your Honor.
Ms. Wanchi?
No, thank you.
All right. So Ms. Wilson, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Trooper Cody Black.
That's my notes. Michelson's case. All right, Trooper, you can come up here. I'm gonna stand you right in front of me and have you spell your first name and your last name for the record.
My first name is Cody, spelled C-O-D-Y. My last name is Black, B-L-A-C-K.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and have a seat. The microphone is for recording purposes, and please project to the back of the room. Ms. Wilson, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Trooper Black, are you currently employed?
I am, yes, ma'am.
And where are you employed?
I'm a task force officer with the Michigan State Police with the ATF office in Flint.
And what is your, how long have you been with Michigan State Police?
Approximately 4 years. I just recently moved out to Flint with this position. Prior to this, I was with the Secured Cities Partnership over in Lansing.
Okay, and were you working with the Secured Cities Partnership on December 27th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, were you assigned to anything specific that day?
Just our normal patrol.
Okay, did you have occasion to conduct a traffic stop on Madison Street near Pine Street?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you in a car at that time?
I was.
What kind of car?
I was in a fully marked Michigan State Police patrol vehicle.
And is that department issued?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what were you wearing?
I was wearing my fully marked Michigan State Police uniform. So blue top, blue bottom, belt, badge, everything. So,
Okay, and it states police somewhere on the uniform?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's also department issued?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And what prompted the traffic stop?
So we observed the suspect vehicle pull out of the equality dairy off of near Pine and Madison. So we were in the area for a shooting that took place off Martin Luther King in Oakland. We were told that the suspect vehicle was possibly in the area, so we were conducting basically a sweep of side streets to look and see if we could locate it. After seeing that van that matched the description of the suspect vehicle they put out, and seeing it not come to a complete stop pulling out of the equality dairy, I said, hey, that could be our suspect vehicle. We should conduct a traffic stop.
Okay, and you said you saw the vehicle not come to a complete stop?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was before exiting a private driveway?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And based on your knowledge as a police officer, is that a traffic offense?
Absolutely.
Okay. Was your dash cam footage on the car working that day?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
At some point, was it made operable recording?
Yes, ma'am. After we activate our lights, the camera footage goes back 30 seconds. So you could see
Okay.
the suspect vehicle not stop on that camera.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Trooper Black, do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it?
It contains the footage from our in-car camera system.
Okay, and have you had a chance to review it?
I have, yes, ma'am.
And is it a fair and accurate representation of what you observed that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Permission to enter plaintiffs or People's Exhibit 1, Your Honor.
Okay, motion to admit People's Exhibit 1. Ms. Wanji, any objection?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Without objection, People's Exhibit 1 is admitted into evidence for preliminary examination. And Ms. Wilson, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Permission to publish to the court.
Granted.
Okay. Using that word degree. Oh, what's this one?
You cannot start share because this feature is not allowed.
You're welcome. Let me try unplugging it and plugging it back in.
It's worked before.
It has, I just used it.
There you go.
All right. For the record, the people are displaying People's Exhibit 1 on the monitor. And Trooper Black, this is the dash cam footage, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may.
All right, and for the record, I am stopping at 3 seconds. I'm approaching the monitor now. Trooper Black, are those headlights there? Is that the car that you attempt to stop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I am playing again.
I'm afraid to touch that monitor.
And so that car, for the record, I'm stopping at 11 seconds. So that car you observed, is that the fail to stop that you observed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you had mentioned that there was a shooting in the area as
Yes,
well, and that car also matched the description of the vehicle you were given?
Yes, ma'am, I just.
Okay.
All right,
And
so, and we're talking, about when you say car, we're talking about the white SUV,
the van, or
the
yes.
white vehicle that's pulling out of the shop mart or the convenience store.
It's on the left side.
Yeah,
Oh, it's on the left
left
side.
side, yep.
All right.
You can see the quality dairy parking lot on the left. He slow rolls it.
Oh,
So
there. I see.
this one here.
So the one coming at you.
Yes.
All right.
So after you observed the fail to stop, what did you do?
I pointed out the traffic infraction.
Or what? So after you observed the failure to stop, what did you do?
I notified my partner. I said, hey, that vehicle slow rolled, leaving the quality dairy, didn't come to a complete stop. At that time, my partner also noticed another traffic infraction in his rearview mirror, but I'll let him testify to that. I said that could possibly be our suspect vehicle. We should try and make contact with them.
Okay, and what did you do after that?
After we completed the U-turn, the vehicle pulled into a driveway. And immediately got out of his car as we activated our lights and began to walk away from the vehicle.
Okay, when you say you activated your lights, is that like a light on top of the car?
Yep, it's a red bubble on top of our car mixed with different white, red, and blue lights that are on the surrounding outside of the vehicle.
And that's a typical policy to use in a traffic stop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so at that point, you said somebody was getting out of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
What side of the car?
The driver's seat.
Okay. Did you make contact with anybody in the car?
Not at that time.
Okay.
The driver, who we later identified was Avion, exited the vehicle and began to walk away from the car, which in my training experience is someone that's basically exhibiting a pre-flight indicator, like they're getting ready to run or separate themselves from a vehicle with contraband.
And once you observed that, what did you do?
I notified him that said, hey, I'm going to make contact with you. This is a traffic stop. And at that point, he had already stepped out of the vehicle. So I said, hey, just keep your hands out of your pockets. We'll talk to you about what's going on.
Okay. And during this interaction, did you get a good look at him?
I did.
Do you see him here in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you point him out and describe something he's wearing?
Yes, ma'am. He's at the defense table. He's wearing a black and white over jacket.
Thank you. For the purposes of preliminary exam, Your Honor, I'd like the record to reflect identification of the defendant.
Any objection to the witness identifying the defendant for purposes of preliminary examination, Ms. Wachie?
No, you're not, thank you.
Okay, without objection, the witness has identified the defendant for purposes of prelim.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you said that you eventually discovered that his name was Avion Jackson, right?
Correct.
How did you determine that?
Pete provided his name verbally to me.
Okay, and
Then
after,
I conducted a lean and SOS check and compared his SOS photo to what I had seen on the traffic stop and verified it was him.
okay, and SOS is Secretary of State, correct?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
So the photo would have been his driver's license photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you ran the law enforcement information network check, did you observe or did you discover anything?
Yes, ma'am. I observed that he had the driver of the vehicle, Avion, had a warrant listed in lien.
Okay, and what did you do after that?
I notified him that hey, do you know you have a warrant? Just to see if he had tried to take care of it. At that point, he decided to run.
Okay, and what did you do after you started running?
After he ran, my partner told me to stay with the vehicle. So I stood with the other individuals that were in the vehicle while my partner and members of Lansing gave chase on foot.
Okay. Did you hear the other officers say anything when he was running?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't recall.
Okay. That's all I have for this witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, Ms. Swangy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Black.
Morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so you say that you saw my client car that did not completely stop, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
And also in the report, you stated that there was no, that the car fell to senior.
My partner observed him use a signal after he had already begun to turn onto a roadway instead of turning or giving a, well, I'll let my partner testify to that, but that's what my partner observed.
The report that was generated,
Yes, ma'am.
you have Cody Black and you have William Scott, correct?
Correct.
So both of you have written the report or one have written the report?
I wrote the report and then Sergeant Williams, who's my supervisor, reviewed it. So we basically wrote it and tailored it together because we were both in the car at the time.
Okay, so you wrote the report and in the report, you stated that the vehicle fell to senior.
Correct.
Okay, but we can see here that the vehicle had senior.
You don't have to leave. You don't have to signal leaving a private drive. You do have to signal prior to committing a turn on a roadway, which is what he did when he turned from Pine to Madison, which is not depicted there in that video. It's moving behind us.
So you said that you did not observe the car. Did you observe the car not seniorly, or it's your the other
My
investigator?
partner observed it, him not signal. I observed him not come to a complete stop while leaving the quality dairy parking.
Now, when we saw the car, you saw the car having stopped.
He didn't stop. He rolled it.
Now, when you approached the car, you said that you were looking for a van. Was it a dark van?
Before we stopped the car, we were advised by dispatch that it was a dark colored van that had been leaving the area of the suspected shooting and stabbing that had taken place near Martin Luther King Oakland. That was a van in the immediate area where that had taken place. So we were in the area looking for such a vehicle.
And when you approached the car, you saw that this van had a visible logo on it, correct?
I don't remember if we were given a logo or a brand or a make and necessarily make and model more than just body style.
Okay, but when you saw, you did not, okay, so when the dispatch did not give any other description beside the.
Not that I can
black-
recall. I
that-
have to review my report to get more, I guess, descriptors of the vehicle at that time.
Well, that's not my question. You were looking for a van, correct? And because the dispatch said that there was a shooting, or you were looking for a suspect.
Yes, ma'am.
And the dispatch said that there was a dark van. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they have any other description?
I can't recall.
Okay. And when you got there, you saw the van with a specific description, correct?
When I stopped the vehicle, I can identify other things. Correct. Yes, because at that point I can see with my own two eyes and I can verify that information myself.
Okay, so you verified that specific van had a logo on it.
I'm sure it did. I don't know if I dictated that in my report or if I said that out loud. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it's relevant at the time when I stop a car. I'm not necessarily concerned of its official make and model at that time. I don't like, I guess, hyperfixate on logos, so to speak.
Okay, well, I understand that, but you were looking for a specific car.
Correct.
And you
Body style. Yes, ma'am.
body style. And so would you have stopped any other car van that was there at the quality dairy?
I would have given it a once over, and then when it does other things that are odd, like immediately turn while we hit our brakes and then turn into a parking or a driveway that they don't belong to, and then get out of the vehicle and start to walk away. Like those are all things that are indicative of someone that's committing a crime, or that basically it gives me reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed, is being committed, or is about to be committed when people do those things and I put them together, right? I look at a situation and I look at every different piece of the pie, and that's how I make a decision and build my reasonable suspicion.
So my question was, okay, so you stopped this car because the van, you didn't have any other description then it was a dark van.
I stopped him for a motor vehicle.
Your Honor, I'm gonna object. This is asked and answered several times.
I just want to make sure that I understand.
I
what
stopped
you're
him for a traffic infraction.
Hold on, let me rule. So I'll overrule the objection, but it is a little asked and answered here. So you may ask your question and then I'll instruct the witness to answer it. So you
Now-
may proceed.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so if I understand that you had just the description of the car, do you know also how many people were in the car? From the 911 call?
Do I know who was in the 911 call? No,
Did the dispatch that was the 911 call also say how many people were in the car?
I don't recall.
I have no further questions for
All right.
this witness. Your Honor.
Any redirect of Ms. Wilson?
None, Your Honor.
All right. May this witness be excused, Ms.
He
Wilson?
may, Your Honor.
Ms. Wanji,
Yes, Your Honor.
you're all set. Thank you for your appearance today.
You're good, yeah.
Thank
Do you need me to sign one?
Nope, I'm good.
And Ms. Wilson, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Sergeant Williams.
All right, Sergeant, you can come up here. Stand straight, right in front of me, and please state your first name and your last name for the record.
Sergeant Scott Williams,
And please spell them both.
SCOTT WILLIAMS.
Your right hand is raised. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. You may have a seat. The microphone is for recording purposes.
Okay.
And you project to the back of the room if you're able. Ms. Wilson, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Williams, are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
Michigan State Police.
And what is your job title?
Currently, I'm a sergeant of our Secure Cities Partnership, which is a violent crimes task force in the city.
Okay, and how long have you been with Michigan State Police?
Approximately 8 years.
Okay. Do you recall if you were working on December 27th of 2023?
This,
Were you assigned to anything specific that day?
we're the Secure City Partnership. Basically, we assist the Violent Crimes Initiative. We assist LPD with any type of high risk complaints or anything that they handle.
Okay. Did you have occasion to assist in or to conduct a traffic stop on near Madison Street near Pine Street?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Did you have occasion to conduct a traffic stop on Madison Street near Pine Street?
Yes, sir.
And is that in Lansing,
Yes.
Ingham County,
Correct.
Michigan? And what prompted that traffic stop?
So we were down near MLK and Holmes. We heard a shooting come out in the north end. They advised that, not sure the exact dispatch notes, but one was stabbed, one was shot. A dark colored van was leaving the area. We responded to the area, and right nearby a couple blocks, we observed a dark colored van in the area. We observed the van pull out of quality dairy without coming to a complete stop. And then we also observed the van, once we hit our brake lights to turn, make an immediate turn onto Madison and signaling into the turn. Wasn't prior, did not give prior initiation to the normal public of a reasonable time period of a minute turn. Made that turn off as soon as we spun around. The vehicle then pulled into the immediate first driveway. Driver jumped out and we made contact with the driver.
Okay, and so I want to fast forward a bit in the stop. At some point, was someone arrested?
Correct, yes.
And do you know who that person was? Who was that?
Avion Jackson.
And did you get a good look at that person?
I did.
Do you see him in the courtroom here today? Can you point him out and describe something he's wearing?
Gentleman in the black and white varsity jacket.
Thank you. Your Honor, for the purpose of preliminary exam, I'd like the record to reflect the identification of the defendant.
Any objection to the witness identifying the defendant for purposes of prelim, Ms. Wanji?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Without objection, the witness has identified the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Jackson was arrested, correct? Correct. Okay, and who arrested him?
Well, he was informed of his warrant. He fled from the scene. I ended up tripping, falling, and then myself and multiple VC took him into custody.
Okay. And after he was searched, or sorry, after he was arrested, was a search conducted?
It was by Officer Bush.
Okay, and were you nearby present during the search?
Yeah, we were all kind of around the area of the front of the patrol car.
Okay.
And observed or witnessed him saying that he located some narcotics.
Okay, and what did he do after he located the narcotics?
He passed it on to me in a property bag and we put it in our property box back of the patrol car.
Okay, at some point, did you have occasion to test the narcotics? And what mechanism was used to test it?
Our true narc.
And are you trained to use that? What's the training look like to use that?
So the training is a PowerPoint that you go through, and then you go through a certified operator that shows you how it's worked.
Okay.
And Lieutenant Eberhardt showed me how to do that when I went through the process.
All right, and when you tested this substance, what process did you use?
So what it is when you use the TrueNarc device, you have to do a check. Basically, the check, make sure that it's in proper working order. It shows a pass. Then you test the narcotics. It'll tell you what it is, and then afterwards you have to do another check to make sure that it passed the test, make sure it's in proper working order.
And is that the procedure you followed with this substance? And what, if anything, did it come back as?
So in TrueNarc, it will come back as cocaine, HCl, which is cocaine, or it'll come back as a cocaine base, which came back as crack, which both substances came back from both tests as a cocaine base. So
Okay.
Crack.
All right, nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, Ms. Wanji.
Officer, did you observe Mr. Officer Bush doing the search on backline?
I was back and forth between different people, so I did not see him actually take it out. He just told me that he located it.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect of Ms. Wilson?
Nothing, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused?
May, Your Honor.
Ms. Wanji, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you for your appearance today. You're all set. Any further witnesses, Ms. Wilson?
One more, Your Honor. The people call Officer Aaron Bush.
All right, officer, you're gonna have to stand you right there. Please state your first name and your last name and spell them both for the record.
Aaron Bush, AARONBUSH.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right, have a seat. The microphone is for recording purposes, so please project to the back if you're able to do so, okay? Ms. Wilson, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Bush, are you currently employed?
Yes,
And where are you employed?
Lansing Police Department.
What's your job title?
I'm an officer.
Okay. And what are your general duties?
I'm assigned to the Violent Crime Initiative.
And what does that entail?
Overall goal is reducing violent crime.
Okay. Do you recall if you were working on December 27th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
On that date, did you have occasion to assist in a traffic stop on Madison Street near Pine Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in the city of Lansing,
Yes,
Ingham County,
yes.
Michigan? Okay. What was your role in that stop?
I was a backup officer.
Okay. So what happened after you arrived?
When I arrived, I saw MSP troopers already interacting with the occupants of the vehicle. They had the driver out of the vehicle already.
Okay. And what happened after that?
Trooper Black ran the driver through lean and found out he had a arrest warrant. And Trooper Black advised the driver that he had a warrant. And he immediately started running eastbound down Madison Street.
Okay. And were you part of, I'm assuming officers pursued him.
Yes,
Were you one of them?
I ran in his direction. He was taken into custody before I got up to him.
Okay. At some point, did you interact with him?
Yes,
How?
I ran in the direction that he did, and then Officer Jenks and Sergeant Williams took him into custody. I was next to them, but I didn't need my assistance.
Okay.
Once he was under arrest, I helped walk him back to the MSP patrol vehicle, and then I assisted in searching him incident to arrest.
Okay. Did you find anything when you searched him?
Yes, in his left coat pocket, I found a clear bag that had another black plastic bag inside of it. That bag was tied shut and I could feel a rocky substance on the inside. I opened it and saw multiple white rocks on the inside that I believe to be cracked.
Okay, and what did you do with that baggie once you had it?
I transferred it over to the custody of Sergeant Williams.
Okay, did you find anything else?
No.
On this person? Okay. Nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, Ms. Swanji.
I have no questions for this witness. Your
All
Honor.
right. Is this witness excused from the people, Ms.
Yes,
Wilson?
He is, Your Honor.
From the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
Thank you.
right, thank you for your appearance today. You're all set. Any further witnesses from the people, Ms. Wilson?
None, Your Honor.
Do the people rest?
They do, Your Honor.
Ms. Swanji, any proofs today?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Ms. Wilson, motion for bind over.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant here is charged with possession of cocaine and resisting and obstructing a police officer. Starting with the possession of cocaine, you heard testimony today from Trooper Black and Sergeant Williams that they observed Mr. Jackson in a vehicle that made a traffic violation. They were also in the area responding to a violent crime that had committed, and the vehicle was matching that description. Based on their training and experience, the behavior of the car and the driver led them to the conclusion that there may be some criminal aspect afoot. So they conducted a stop. All the officers who testified here today identified Mr. Jackson as the person that they stopped. You heard that he was searched by Officer Bush, and a baggie with a substance was found on his person. The baggie contained a substance that the officers believed to be some kind of narcotic. A chain of custody was maintained with Sergeant Williams, who then tested the substance with TrueNarc, which he is trained to use and perform, and use the TrueNarc in accordance with his training. The TrueNarc indicated that there was, I believe, cocaine in the substance. So I believe, as far as the elements of a possession of cocaine, the elements have been met by a probable cause standard. As to the resisting and obstructing, all the officers here today testified that they observed Mr. Jackson, who they again identified, flee from the scene when officers were trying to question him, and also perform some safety precautions given the violent nature of the offense they were in the area for. He fled from the officers and was subsequently arrested. I do believe that this meets the probable cause standard of a resisting and obstructing. So we would request bind over on that charge as well.
Thank you. Ms. Swanji, response.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the preliminary exam, I will leave it to the discussion. I think that the defense had what they wanted to pursue a motion for illegal search.
All right, thank you. At a probable cause level, this is the standard for preliminary examination is probable cause, second lowest standard in criminal law. I find that December 27th, 2023 is the date on Madison Street and Pine Street in the city of Lansing is a venue and location. Identification was made by, I believe all three troopers made identification as Mr. Jackson coming from the driver's side of the vehicle. So the bind over is left to the elements of the crime. I will start with count one. Once Mr. Jackson did flee, and also we have testimony about the stop. It appears from the camera, from the dash cam, it appears to me that this was there was no stop at the time. This is a rolled through stop in regards to the purposes, or part of the purposes for stopping the vehicle. There doesn't seem to be that there was a dispatch indicating the nature of the vehicle broadly described. And then Trooper Williams testified that that there was a failure to use signal. I'm not sure I saw that from the dash cam perspective, but I did see that there was a no stop coming out of the vehicle coming out of the driveway. That being said, the stop was made, and search incident to arrest Mr. Jackson was run, and the search incident to arrest, he ran. So in count two, there's probable cause to be that location, offense, venue ID, and date is made, and the offense of did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, and oppose being the main two indications that the Mr. Jackson ran from Trooper Cody Black and Trooper Scott Williams. They were both in a marked vehicle, and the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties pursuant to the stop and the search incident to arrest. So I'll bind over on count 2. As to count 1, there was a search incident to arrest done. And the last witness, Officer Bush, testified that the packet and subsequent rocks were found on his person. They were later tested for cocaine using TrueNarc by Officer Williams. And so count 1 is bound over as charged that knowingly or intentionally possessed less than 25 grams of a mixture containing the controlled substance of cocaine. So the defendant is bound over as charged to circuit court. Mr. Jackson, please keep in contact when you're with your attorney, Ms. Wanji. Your time in district court is done. You're now in circuit court. You'll be bound over to circuit court, which is the trial court in the matter. Okay, sir? Okay. Examination was held on today's date. On the charges and the complaints. Anything else for the record in docket 2303-805, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing for the people.
Ms. Wanchi?
Nothing other, thank
All right, you're all set, Mr. Jackson. Your next court date will be in circuit court. Okay, sir? Thank you. Thank you.
Your Honor, is Taylor Smith on your docket today?
Yes,
Okay.
I have Smith and Ward
Oh, and Omari,
and Omar.
yes.
And Mr.
Oh, she does, okay.
Then Mr. Palmer, are you here on Mr. Ward?
Yeah, Miss Ward, but
Ms.
yes,
Ward?
she's in the hallway.
Yeah, I haven't checked. Can you
Okay.
see if there's a- I don't see it.
You've been kind of busy to check on your witnesses.
A little bit. Oh, yeah, that's just there, yep. And the spacing makes it confusing.
Oh, yeah.
She left it on the floor. Don't forget, she left it on the floor, so don't forget it, thank you.
I give you prelims on the notes on Michaelson's. It's ringing.
Yeah.
Want to just do that? or
Yeah.
not?
So Smith
So
and
I will let you know.
Jackson was done.
Tomorrow.
Omari, I'm taking Yes, I believe he'll be next.
Oh, sorry, I could have just after.
I haven't. Thank you.
And then Ronnie Schneider was done, so there shouldn't be anybody left.
I just could see.
Just make sure.
This is Miss Ward.
That's correct.
Your Honor, if I just have a moment.
Yep, sure. I know where Miss Wilson's been, so.
So, she's been busy.
Yep. Thank you. on the record in docket 23-03385. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Kevin Omari. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Wanchi.
Melanie, everyone, for Mr. Omari.
And sir, you are Kevin Omari, is that correct? All right, thank you. This is the time set for preliminary examination today. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd be requesting that we proceed with the preliminary exam today.
Your Honor, I would request a short adjournment. Last time when we adjourned was so that my client had the opportunity to present, to talk to an immigration attorney. Because the charge that he has is facing what would have immigration consequences. He had finally obtained an attorney this past Monday, and the attorney was waiting for me yesterday. I told the attorney that we don't have a formal offer. I had an offer and I made a counter offer, and I was waiting for the prosecutor was going to come back to us. So we do have a formal offer now, and I would like my client to have the opportunity to talk to his immigration lawyer and come back, and we will know how to pursue the case. The other reason is that for immigration purpose, we have to also watch out whatever we put on the record. If this case is not going to be settled, we need to also minimize the consequences for immigration purpose, Your Honor. Plus the other things that the alleged victim move out of state. So it's gonna be a victimless prosecution. And where my client is facing a lot of, if he's facing, the consequences are going to be very high for him, Your Honor. So that's why we're asking just for a short adjournment, a week. That's what the immigration attorney told me, a week, so that he has the time to review everything and give us an advice on how to proceed with this.
All right, Ms. Wilson, is it officers being called at this prelim?
Yes, the officers are here and ready to testify. And I will note that, I believe this is the third adjournment that's being requested. Mr. Omari certainly knew of his immigration status back when this offense occurred in November. He's had ample time to seek counsel. At this point, I don't know that bind over would necessarily do anything with his immigration status, but even if it did, I mean, this case has been sitting for a while. My officers have appeared multiple times now. The victim, I know that Ms. Wanji indicated that this would be victimless. My victim has indicated that she would be possibly willing to return for a trial if this were to go up to circuit. So I do have a victim that's willing and ready to move forward. And I think in the interest of justice, this exam should proceed today.
Thank you. This has been going on since November 22nd, was the first probable cause was held. It was adjourned for discovery and waived the 21-day rule on November 30th. Discovery was still an issue on January 15th. January 19th is the first response to granting the adjournment for immigration status. And now we're set to February 8th on this date. At this point in time, I'm not worrying about Ms. McClanahan, because the bind over would be made on the testimony of Mr. Carlson and Mr. Ebright, both officers. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Wanji makes a good point that anything placed on the record, I would assume be used against Mr. McClanahan in an immigration proceeding. So there's some question as to whether we run it or not, based on the nature of the probable cause hearing. And so they're waiting to hear from the immigration counsel. I do know that it is an ineffective assistance of counsel to plead to a charge without some immigration expertise, or at least negotiating or talking to an immigration lawyer pursuant to Supreme Court rules.
I'm not suggesting that we enter a plea today.
Right.
And I will note again that there's been ample time to go through this immigration issue. So I think this is kind of a delay tactic at this point, and I would wish to proceed today.
Right.
If I may.
You may.
There is a question of money. He has retained an attorney. and again, we give advice to our client and we let them do, but I think that this case is not as clear cut as the prosecution thinks. What I'm worrying the most is what's going to be put on the record, because my client, even without our advice, already he has some application in front of the immigration and services. So what we are worrying about is everything that's going to be put on the record. We're not asking, it's not a delay tactic. We're not asking for 1 month. The last time we were here, we had an offer. We said that we were going to ask for an immigration attorney to review the offer. And my client finally got some money and he hired an attorney this past Monday. We just want a short notice so that we can talk to him and see what needs to be done.
All right, so I'm going to grant the adjournment on this case for preliminary examination. We'll do it for notice purposes. I think we have to do it for 2 weeks.
Your Honor, if I may,
You may.
also, if the exam runs next week, the offer will be revoked.
All right, so,
I'm just putting that on the record.
all right, so Ms. Wanji, you may want to talk to your client concerning that the bind over will be as to count 1 and count 2. There will be no offer in the matter. But then, so if there is an adjournment, it'll be on the prelim on counts 1 and 2. Ms. Wanji, did you want some time to talk to your client to explain to him what that means?
If he wants to waive today, I can keep the offer open into circuit court for pretrial.
So,
So Ms. Wanji, did you want to talk to your client or a little bit?
I want to talk to him.
All right. So I'll let you step outside to talk to your client a little bit concerning this matter, just to explain to him what he's facing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's Mr. Omari.
Yep.
And then Ms. Robinson's still on the record, I think.
Nope, she was just here.
Okay. And do we expect a hearing on that or?
I asked Miss Robinson and I didn't get a response.
Okay.
So TBD.
So let's wait. Okay. Right, so Ms. Robinson, I know you've been in a prelim.
2 prelims, Judge.
Yeah.
About to be third.
So,
that's
all right,
okay.
so let's see what Ms. Wanji wants to
Oh,
do.
not this one. Oh,
What's that?
not this one apparently.
Oh, all right, so let's,
Are we
so,
leaving then? Okay.
okay, let's go on Mr. Smith while we have, all right. All right, so we're on the record in docket. I gotta stop doing that. On docket 24-00050. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Taylor Smith. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Robinson.
Aaron Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Smith.
And sir, you are Taylor Smith, is that correct? Okay, thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination today. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding that this will be a waiver up to circuit as charged.
And Ms. Robinson.
That is correct, Judge.
So this is a waiver to circuit court and negotiations are to continue.
That is correct, Judge.
All right. May I inquire of your client of his waiver of the preliminary examination?
You may.
Mr. Smith, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination today.
Yes, sir.
Preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence the identity of the person who committed the crime and that a crime was committed. You are represented today by attorney Aaron Robinson. She would be present to cross-examine any witnesses, contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. It's my understanding it is your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination, have this case bound over as charged to circuit court where negotiations are going to continue. That would be the trial court. Is it your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the people also waive their right to a preliminary examination?
We do, Your Honor, unconditionally.
I find the waiver to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. And I will provide the signatures for bind over. I'm in possession of the bind over signed by all the parties. I'll indicate that the examination was waived on today's date and is to be bound over on the charges and complaint with negotiations to continue. I will sign the document to that effect. So, Mr. Taylor, your time in district court is done. You'll get your next date from your attorney, Ms. Robinson, concerning circuit court and your arraignment in circuit court. All right, sir? Anything else for the record? 24-00050, Ms. Wilson,
Nothing from the people.
Ms. Robinson.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Smith, good luck to you.
Thank you.
And then Ms. Wanchi, were you ready on Mr. Omari?
I am, Your Honor.
So we're back on the record in docket 23-03385. There was initial, Ms. Wanchi's had the opportunity to speak with her client, Mr. Omari. This was a request for an adjournment. The court was looking at, since there's no victim in the case, a bind over would be made on Carlson's testimony and Ebright testimony. There has been an offer extended. For the record, the prosecutors indicated that the offer would be revoked today if the preliminary examination were run. So I gave Ms. Wanchi the time to speak with Mr. Omari concerning this case. Ms. Wanchi, how are we proceeding today?
We're gonna still request an adjournment, Your Honor.
All right. So we'll adjourn for essentially 2 weeks. The offer has been revoked. And I will reset this. I think it's fair for 2 weeks out.
Your Honor, just for clarification purposes, the offer is open until the next exam, but if the exam runs,
Oh, okay.
then the offer is revoked.
All right. Thank you for that
Yeah,
clarification.
no problem. It changes
All right.
things a bit, yeah.
So offer is open if waived. So until the exam is run.
Correct.
All right. And then we'll reset for 2 weeks out. And then you may want to check with your officers to see if the date works.
February 22nd at 9.
So it'll be set for February 22nd at 9 o'clock. And on that date, I would expect it to be either a prelim or a waiver. On that
And Your
date.
Honor, if you don't mind, can I pop out and check?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can check with your schedule just to see if that works.
What time?
9 o'clock right now,
Okay.
February 22nd at 9, but let's see if it coincides with witnesses' schedules.
Thank you.
Backup dates, just